In this video I'm going to be teaching you how to improve your cross to make it faster during solves. Now this is more of a beginner to advanced, so make sure you listen to all these tips. Tip number 1, cross on bottom. Now what I mean by this is you solve your cross on bottom instead of at the top. If you solve your cross at the top, then you have to rotate to do F2L, which is the next stage. So you have to rotate. Whereas if you solve cross on bottom, you can just easily, so if I just do these, I could go straight into the pair, moving on, which gives me a lot of time to look ahead to next pairs and solve F2L a lot quicker. And then also that if you can solve F2L, then it goes to all L and P-L. So make sure you always rely on your cross. Solve it on bottom so you don't have to rotate and then look again through F2L pairs, whereas you should be doing cross on bottom as a beginner to advanced. Tip number 2, good edges and bad edges. Now what I mean by this is if I just scramble up the cue, every scramble is different, so there might be some good edges and some bad edges. So let's take a look at them. So I'm looking at the white edges, so we see that this one is a good edge because this can go in easily, this orange one, whereas this is a bad edge because it takes a lot more moves, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a bad edge. Bad edge, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is also a good edge because it can go in one slot. So what do we do with all of this information? Well, what we can do, is turn the bad edges into good edges. So what I mean by this is we know if orange can go in easily, we can insert blue while we're inserting this. So it's called putting it on top of each other. So I can put this blue edge piece on top so that when this one goes to insert, this edge can go in with one move. So we've turned this bad edge into a good edge, so we could just insert and then align the cross. But then we've got this one, so I can just do a D and then that, place it in, and then the last one over here, and then align the cross. There we go. And then that gives us enough time to, if we did it all together, then that gives us enough time to do F2L and stuff. So make sure you don't leave bad edges to last, for you could end up in situations such as you don't know things. So I can just do these two, and then you've got it over here. So make sure you know exactly how to do all of the cases, and just make sure you turn bad edges into good edges. Tip number 3, look ahead. What I mean by look ahead, this is more advanced, is that once you do solve your cross eventually, then you should go instantly to F2L. What I mean by this is make sure you have your cross prediction in your head already. So I know from inspection time, whenever you've given a new scramble, you should actually inspect just made the cross. So I know that this piece should go over here, so I could do D2 or I could do this one. So what I mean by this is that I know from this cross solution, orange is opposite red, so I can do an F2. This is a really easy cross solution, F2. Then insert this, since this will be moved over, with an L prime, I'm at L, and then just insert this last. So altogether it looks like this. F2, and there we go. And that's how easy the cross can be, which gives us enough time to do and predict F2L. Tip number 4, the order. What I mean by this is every time you do your cross, make sure you know the correct order. You know, let me just solve the cross, so I can put the blue on top to insert. And there we go, is that we know that if we look at it from this angle and perspective, we know we've got blue, that's to the right of red, and green to the left of red. These two are opposite. So you should, once you do the cross so many times, you just know it instantly. so that here's another tip, is that don't align the cross straight away, you should align it at the end. So if you know all the correct order, then you don't have to align the cross straight away. So what I mean by this is, let's just get scramble. So we've got fairly easy cross. We could just do a D and then an R2 and an F2. Is that I know that this blue needs to go here. Because if you remember, blue is to the right of red. So we could do U, YG to put it in, and then insert the orange. Like that, but that's just lucky that it was already aligned. But just say if it wasn't aligned, I know that this blue goes to the right of red from this perspective. So I don't need to just quickly align the cross. I just know if I can insert then align it. So instead of aligning it and then inserting it, that requires extra moves. Instead we could just insert it and then align the cross. Make sure you just know the order for when it is. And there you go, you've got a good cross. Make sure you keep all these tips from beginner to advanced and work on them so your cross should look something like this. So I know that I need to get rid of this edge and this one needs to go over here, so I can do that, then insert this with over here. So if I know, what I can do is, if I do this, if I insert it, that turns into a bad edge, this blue one, yeah. So what I could do is insert it, and I know the red one's over here, so I can use this edge, put it on top, and now when I do that, it turns into a good edge which we could insert and then align the cross at the end. And now what's that done? Well, it's given us enough time to do the rest of the cube. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how to do a good healthy cross.